Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. What's going on, guys? Team Picker has dropped, baby, and I'm excited. I am excited. You spend a lot of the off-season just being like, I'd love to fit this guy on my side, that guy, this guy. And will they all come together? Probably not. But I've got a few players in mind, a few I spoke about on yesterday's video. And we're looking forward to it. And as you can see, ranked outside the top 10K last year. We got to improve on that. That was disappointing. And it got me thinking, we've had a few finishes to the season rank over the last few years that probably haven't been exactly where I would like it. You finish 5,000 something, 8,000 something, 10,000 something. And as we say, you come to Shorty SuperCoach for the SuperCoach. You stay for the stories. I mean, I'm not preaching to be some sort of wizard on the SuperCoach game, but we're passionate about it and we love it and we do it every single year. But it got me thinking, I always approach it with that similar strategy that most do, your guns and rookies and all that. But clearly I don't do it as well as others. I feel like I'm playing the same game as others, but just giving up a bit of a Kmart version. Maybe Kmart's harsh. I don't know what's in between that. But you get what I'm saying. I'm doing what most people are doing, but you're just not getting the results. So I sort of feel like it's early days, but I want to shake things up. And look, today we're just going to pick a team. Don't hold me to it extremely desperately. Like, it's early days. It's not even Christmas yet. But I want to go through it with a bit of an eye towards mid-prices, because I'm looking at the names and prices that we got given to us the other day. And I know it's an easy one to say, and sometimes we do, there's a lot of mid-prices. But genuinely, yes, some won't turn out as well as we hope, but I just feel like doing something different as well. I'm sick of having these same teams to everyone else, and we have good weeks and bad weeks. It's a good scoring week. How do we know it's a good scoring week? Because everyone largely has the same teams, and those players have scored well. I feel like I want to buck the trend a little bit and just have a bit more fun. I was thinking about it. What do I enjoy most about SuperCoach? It's going out on a bit of a limb, hitching your wagon to someone in January. Yeah, he's only in 3% of sides, but he's your guy, and you want to watch him explode, break out. Yes, you get destroyed if it doesn't work out, but it's not like I'm knocking on the door of the top 1K anyway. That's why I've always changed it. I'm like, it's a bit risky. Risky for what? So you can finish 10,000th again? I don't know. It's not like I'm risking finishing in the top 500. I haven't been going as good as I would like. The game is definitely harder to be good at with all these pricks making videos about it, those blokes. But, so yeah, anyway, the long and the short of it, and I'll talk about it throughout the pre-season, no doubt, but I want to shake things up. So, look, to be honest, I'm starting in the forward line because I reckon, oh my God, I just went across and I thought Flex was forward, and I'm like, since when is Bontempelli in the forward line? I reckon I'm seeing them like watermelons in the forward line. I reckon I've been thinking about this forward line for ages, and I'm seeing it big. I've got my 6, and I'm seeing it pretty clearly. You got McRae, you got Smith, and then you roll down, and, you got Filippo. For what it's worth, I actually quite like Shea Bolton. I could really see him having a cracker of a year at the Dockers, but there ain't space for him. And of course, Caleb Daniel will be in stacks of sides. I was definitely looking for a Dogs jumper, but there he is. I'll tell you what, Shorty's eyesight is not as good. All right, I'll give you... This is a debut. This is a Shorty SuperCoach first. I do wear glasses for a lot of screen time. I don't love the look of glasses, but you're going to get a little Shorty look at it now. This is Shorty's new specs, my guys. Again, be more critical on my team than my visual appearance, but I don't particularly love the look. It does help my eyesight quite a lot. You're not going to see it all too regularly, but maybe I'll dish it out from time to time, because things are getting a little ridiculous on the Zoom, that is for sure. As I am working in an absolute phone box on that one. I'm going to take you to my midfield. And I'm going to give you some names that I'm going to start with. It's going to be Nick Dacos. I absolutely love him. And it's going to be Luke Davies-Uniacke, who I actually feel will crash through the 110 mark, which he has done before. But I see him as there's not too many guys that I feel could average 120. And it's a big call. I'm not saying he's going to, but I think he can absolutely nudge it between the 115 and 120 mark. And I think he can up his average by 7 to 8 points. Now, clearly there's a lot of guns here. I am going a bit more of that mid-price approach, as I said before. Now, with that, what you'll get is a team that probably don't have as many of those absolute guns that you think everybody should have. But we're going to roll through and we're going to scroll past a lot of these guys and we're going to try and find a little bit of value. For what it's worth, Horn Francis, I was spewing that he was in the forward line because I was going to pick him anyway in the midfield regardless. Rankin I really like. I think he was absolutely on fire, one of the best players in the competition when he was up and running in the middle part of last year. Copped some injuries, interrupted, but I can see him taking it to 3 figures. And then, look, Filippo speaks for himself with the form that he had through the midfield. Feel like the Saints need a guy like him. Caleb Daniel, cheapest chips, of course. Smith, he'll average 100, take that to the bank. And McRae, I'm not sure what he's going to do. I mean, you would imagine Jack McRae goes to the Saints, gets a bit more of a better role. He's been dealt pretty harshly by Bevo, as has Caleb Daniel. I think both of these guys at their new homes will reap the reward. And speaking of homes, that's a cheeky little segue without realising, Max is in my team. Maxi Holmes, I think, has the qualities to be one of the better players in the competition. You would argue he's one of, I think if Mike Sheehan was to a top 50, I reckon he'd be around the mark. But I think he's got the ability to be a top 10 to 15 player in the comp. And I think I could just see him taking his average to around 110. It's December. It's speculative. Let's not get too hung up on it. But for now, I really love him. I also love Will Day. I also want to pick... I feel like I go nuts on the analysis sometimes, but let's pick players that we love and we like to watch, because it's just... There's nothing worse than watching a bloke play and dominate and being like, I nearly picked him. He's one of my guys. Well, is he? Because he's not in your team. So, Will Day, Maxi Holmes, a couple of my boys, I reckon they're going to have great seasons. I know they're not exactly cheap. Day obviously represents a bit more value, but I certainly think they can break through pretty significantly. Look, you just have to have Clayton Oliver, I feel. Certainly at this stage. Baker, worth a shout too. I mean, in the forward line, worth a shout. But look, Oliver, it simply comes down to what's the preseason look like? Is he staying out of trouble? Is he on the track all the time? Because at that price, it is an absolute no-brainer. I mean, I think worst case scenario, it's somewhere in the 90s. Best case, he gets back to around 100 odd. Look, I don't see him averaging, 120 again. Petrarca is another guy that's a bit undervalued. I don't mind him. Will Ashcroft, we're going to start in my side. He's just got that feel of Dacos, Sheasel, and yeah, he won the norm. Look, that's not why we're jumping all over him. I was talking about him before that. The way he links up with the 1-2s, the craft that he kicks with. Like, some players just grab the ball, they boot it. Like, some people do hit quite nice targets, but he creates kicks. He crafts the ball beautifully. It's lovely to watch. So he's a guy that absolutely is a front runner for my side. And I did do a couple of notes. Let me just check my notes. It's hard to make this up on the run. Give me 1 second. Never mind. That was all I was thinking of in terms of more premium type of players. I think Draper's got to be in there. In fact, look, Riley Sanders would be a strong consider. Harley Reid is a consider. There's no doubt about that. Look, we're not going to muck around too much. I mean, you'd probably say Lawler will be in there. And then, look, we'll go elsewhere to the more actually purposeful selections. Now, Flanders and Sheasel, they're going to be pretty hard to say no to. I think I'll just see how much cash I've got at the end of it. But I really like Houston. I think the bloke's averaged 106. He didn't take a stack of kick-ins. Like, he actually shared it a fair bit with Burton and Finlayson. Now, I can really see him taking it to 110. James Sicily, underpriced, undervalued. There's no doubt about that. But with the recruits that the Hawks have had, will we see him at times used forward? I'm not saying from the start of the year or when, but will we see it? Be very interesting to watch. If so, I'd happily switch them or him to probably a Sheasel or a Flanders. You could easily go. Coleman picks himself. My boy, Colby McKercher. This guy's the definition of my boy. Absolutely love him. I think talk about crafting kicks, Will Ashcroft. Well, this bloke, we'll be talking about him as the best kick in the competition next year. I think he is a stellar mover. That left boot, God, he'll be cutting one way and kicking another. He'll be beautiful to watch. He's training in the midfield group, which I don't know whether that's good or not. I mean, we've seen the pros that have followed when Sheasel and Dacos went in the middle, so I think it's a good thing overall. But look, it would have been nice to just see him have another year of just easy kick-ins and just racking up plenty of the footy. Makes you feel a bit safer, but obviously there is more upside to be had in the midfield with a guy of that class. Jaden Short going to throw worth a shout. I think with Rioli leaving, he's going to take a lot of kick-ins, a lot, and there's going to be a lot of footy down the way of the Tigers this year. Matty Roberts also been a bit of a discussion point. Not one I'm in love with at this point, but look, I'm going to rock your world here. I'm going to rock your world. Now, clearly, there's a lot of mid-price madness and crazy shit going on in these other lines. The ruck department is where I'm going to go risky as, and with the flex position, I'm just going to roll those dice. Cherry, absolute top end. Gorn, absolute top end. How much longer can Gorn keep doing it for? Who knows? Cherry, absolute gun. Wouldn't argue against you. But look, the rest, there's none that I absolutely love. DeConning, I really do like. I really do like him. But we need to save some cash, and I'm just going to hitch my wagon early to Matthew Flynn. Now, this is a bit reckless, but he is priced at a very, very cheeky 260, which gets me a little horny, guys. I'm not going to lie, because I think that is a fantastic price point for a guy that's got huge upside. Well, maybe that might be an overstatement. Maybe his upside isn't huge, but I think he's a very capable player. And I think they do want Williams to play more forward. I think if Flynn gets back, I think he can comfortably average in the mid to high 80s. Conway I've put in there. Of course, it would have been a lot more comforting if Reece Stanley retired, but I do feel like he's the next guy for the Cats, and I feel like he's a good selection if he can get a good preseason under his belt. As you can see, we got the option of 99k players. That's because with this flex position, we've got 31 players, but we've still got 10 mil in the salary cap. The way they've sort of counted that or worked that out without giving us extra cash is kind of scaling back on players' prices. So players may seem a little cheaper than they normally would for a certain average. There is a reason to that. I think it's 3 or something % off their original price, which puts those previously 102k rookies down to 99. So look, this is where we are going to just round out. We might what have we got? 11 players, and we've got 1.5 mil. So that is that's less than 150k per player. So we're definitely working into rookie territory. So I'm just going to fill out with some rookies. And look, the rookies do not take much notice to this at all. Like, this is not something to be like, oh, what the hell's, this guy doing here? Let's not read too much into it. Just at this stage, a nice high pick from not too long ago. Didn't get a game. We'll just chuck him in now. This guy's definite starter. And then we'll we'll change it up from there because we'll just get a sense for how much cash I've got left over. Because of course we'll want to put some extra guns, like probably who's that Jagger bloke who was taking pick 3 or something? Is it Jagger Smith or I don't even know, but let's go down and just Bo Allen's been talked about really highly. So has Hewitt, been hearing some good things about him. Yeah, really thought Robinson might go elsewhere. So these are absolutely the definition of placeholders. There's no doubt about that. I wouldn't be reading too much into some of these guys, but for the moment, they will they will sit on my bench and they will keep that warm until better options arrive. Here I am, just really analysing it though like a full psycho. Let's go here. Yeah, but definitely would love to hear your thoughts, questions, thoughts on the approach. Like, has Shorty fully lost his mind? Is there merit to it? I mean, part of it's just a philosophical thing. I just want to change it up. I just want to get a bit of spark into Shorty's life, you know. There would be names that I've definitely read but can't fully think of right now either. But there might be a couple that pop up. None of which are happening right now. But look, I'll tell you what. That's the man who took the number 23, wasn't it? Pretty bold call. Look, there's bound to be some rookie that bobs his head up, so we'll just chuck old mate here. Tell you who I reckon is not the craziest shout. No, maybe it's a little bit crazy, but Roberts. We're talking about Matt, but Archie Roberts. Do not sleep on him at 340k. He's definitely one for your draft, but I reckon he's a little smoky. I really like him. Beautiful ball user. Reminds me a bit of Zach Merritt when he just started. There wasn't much of him. He looked very young, but you could tell he had a beautiful left boot on him. So I think with Heppel going, it's going to be very interesting just to see. So we've got we're just going to go some absolute placeholder guys, and then we might just reshuffle a little bit. So the mid's not, that's not a placeholder because there will be some decent options. Who's that guy? There it is, Jagger Smith. That's one that I'm thinking of. How are we going? 440 with 2 players. All right, okay. I think if I'm going that risky in the ruck department, you'd probably want to have a little bit of half decent coverage, wouldn't you? Like, I wonder, does Heath get a bit more opportunity? I've heard good things about him, but 321. See, the way I'd want to use the flex player is a pure cash cow option. That is the way I would be approaching it. Look, for the moment, we're just going to go like that. And then with 321, I wonder if there was anyone else that sort of bobbed out of my list. Obviously, there would be for sure some, Look, I could certainly juggle and find a way to get Riley Sanders in. Finn O'Sullivan, Levi Ashcroft, he has to come in. We cannot forget him. And that would... Mills, I've got a bit of time for. Peatling we'll talk about a lot over the preseason. I do like Mills, depending on the role. So what we'll do is, of course, we'll get look, we'll just make with absolutely no rhyme or reason, Ashcroft is just gonna get chucked in there. And there you have it. It actually worked with 135k spare, which is pretty cheeky. Obviously, you would upgrade, these type of guys, but there'll be a 99k bloke that we put somewhere on their bench for sure. Lawler, Hewitt. Look, I'm not gonna lie, I don't mind it. Like, clearly, you would you'd almost chuck him because I feel like he's a better option for the field. This is a long way out to be sort of talking about blokes on your field, but the forward line was a nightmare last year. We've actually got a bit to work with. I know a lot can change, but I really like that forward line. I think 5 of those guys are locks. Filippo, a bit will come into it with the pre-season, opportunity, etc. Clearly you would have Ashcroft on field as well. You'd probably chuck him in there. And you would, actually, because the flex player actually counts towards your score, doesn't it? So that's how he's on the field, get the best scorer there. We'd juggle these around. We might have a look. We might just have a cheeky little look just for the sake of it. What can we get up to? 234. See if anyone jumps out at me, but yeah, we got plenty of time. Rogers is probably not a bad shout if you get an opportunity. There's so much time to sort this out. Like Lynch at that price, like, geez, I mean, he's going to get opportunity, isn't he? Like, it'd be a bit of a nightmare, but I wonder, if he can stay fit for any length of time. Yes, this was a man God, I can't believe I forgot Curtin. Great call, Shorty. Yeah, so that is an early look at my side, and look, I don't hate it. I know it's very weird, and a lot of people will go very much different to mine. Another way you could approach it would be to drop Tommy Lynch down to a 99k guy, and then you could go Houston up to Sheasel, which might not work exactly, but it'd be close. 635. Yeah, it'd be close enough. I think it'd work, actually. So that could be another option as well, but I just really like Houston. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Like, I sort of feel like some of these breakout contenders, they're not all going to pay off most likely, but, gee, they're going to be a bit of fun to watch, and that is the part I enjoy most about SuperCoach. Backing in someone that you rate, you're a fan of. It's a bit different. Well, I think it's different. Maybe people will go them as well. But, yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on the side. It's something a bit different, but that's what it's all about. Give me your thoughts. We might have a couple of videos coming up over the weekend and across Christmas. I'll probably schedule a few because Shorty's heading down the lawn. But, yeah, we might try and get a live session, whether that's on YouTube or TikTok. We'll have to see. But, thanks for sticking around. I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.